Mt. Gox 9 billion payout or 140,000 Bitcoin to start return in July of 2024. Interesting that you bring that up because that is one of the, that's actually the only reading I have for today, as I did stumble across that a little while ago. And that's something we will definitely go through. So good eye, my friend. Good eye. Will definitely go through that because there is a possibility that Bitcoin, they could start the release of some of these 140,000 Bitcoin. So this is very, very interesting, the timing of all this. As we know, the U.S. government, it's now confirmed that they hold a massive 212,000 plus Bitcoin. 3,940 Bitcoin has been already approved to go onto the exchange and is already on the exchange. A judge approved that sale yesterday, I believe it was. So that's something big taking place. But as far as it goes with XRP, Ripple, and that, what's going on there, the Ripple CLO called out the SEC for a rule violation, and the courts actually agreed with them. So that is big, big, big development here when it comes to Ripple versus the SEC. So that's something we are really going to have to talk about this evening. Nick, welcome in. Vincent Ortega, good evening, and thank you for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Mark Caston, welcome in, and thank you for also being part of Tom's Army for 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Tanya, welcome in, love, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad. It's always a blessing to see you in here, love. And we will go over H-bar today as well, as it was up about 3% on the day, 3.75 at current times. Moza here, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for 6 months with the XRP Predictor. Hi, Tom, and everyone supporting help the channel. Please hit the like button. Yes, yes, please, please hit that like button. As we did a little bit earlier in the update this morning, but I was going over with the audience in the update this morning, and I know some of you understood, but yesterday my video had about 1,000 views. My update didn't do as good traction wise. It only had about 1 out of every 9.7 people hit the like button, so it really hurt through the analytics, but we had a very strong audience show up that was familiar with my content. It just didn't get any recommendations. Sully Mode, welcome in. Slavko, good evening, and good to see you in Alive, my friend. I know you've been sharing a lot of my content. I know you've shared my content around the globe, which is awesome. I'm very blessed to see everybody in here. We'll go through the intro in just a second. I just wanted to give a quick synopsis of a breakdown of what I anticipate to go on. And we're going to go through a little journey here this evening. Remember, it's not about the destination of the conclusion after about an hour, but what about the journey that we go through during this hour long? That's what's going to help us be motivated and also help us understand what's coming through the horizon. I have a very bad feeling of what's starting to line up here. We'll go over all of this. Free Toast, welcome in. Daniel, good evening. Always good to see everybody tune in. I love seeing some of the regulars in here as well this evening. The Gatman, good evening, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. XRP, XPH, Quorum, and Solo. That's a good group. Good group of people there. Or tokens, I should say. John Hall, welcome in. Hope you're having a blessed evening, brother. You are welcome. So yeah, we'll get into this. Vincent, thank you for the double smash. I wish it counted for more than one. Always, Tom. I appreciate that, Slavko. So with that being said, we're going to go over the Bitcoin price analysis as it has an overzealous push up earlier. With everything we know, I think it's starting to lead more into a possible sell-off scenario here. But I'm going to show you why until a certain level breaks, why this is a moot point. And this could be a little bit of decoration in front of us right now to deceive us. Because maybe they're just uploading it to the exchange because they know we're about to have a price increase. You know, so there's always that angle as well. And then they'll sell off on this next move up. Because what better way to get retail in than, even though all this news is being put out there, you run Bitcoin up near all-time highs again. Liquidate all the shorts now. Because if you go up to 73,000, there's several $billion that could get liquidated. So I think that's a possibility we need to really look into. But I'll show you the break point. If Bitcoin breaks a certain key level, how we know it's fucked. Mario Louise Willamese, welcome in. Free Toast, good evening. What happened? We will go over what happened. John Patak, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad. So with that being said, let me get into the intro. After the intro, We'll get into the charts. Well, first we'll talk about the Ripple CLO, how it calls out the SEC for a rule violation, and the court actually agreed with this rule violation. So we'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about some of the other news about Mt. Gox payout in 2024. Russia Bitcoin payments could tank Bitcoin in July. So is this a reason why the U.S. government is uploading, along with the German government, huge amounts of Bitcoin for sale back onto the exchanges before this happens? And if that's the case, is there any reason to think that crypto is going anywhere but way, way, way down if this happens? Kyle Kupiak, welcome in. Cape Cod Kyle, and thank you for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months as well. Trading with J-Ride, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP589 Moon Badge. Yes, please hit that like button. So I'll give you a second. Make sure to hit that like button so YouTube hits or recommends this live. It'll pop up in the news feeds. So not just me or you, but somebody who's never heard of us will see it when they're searching through YouTube. So if you do appreciate this, just hit that like button. It's the simplest thing you could do, but it's the most important thing you could ever do for my community. George, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. So with that being said, I'll catch you on the other side of the intro. Hit that like button. Please, please, please. Good evening, 6:26 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, June 27th, 2024. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. I was so excited for this live, I started it almost 13 minutes early, about 13 minutes early, because there was a lot of information and I just couldn't wait. I was going to wait till 6:30, but I said, you know what, it's close enough to 6:30, I'm coming on. So, and Trading with J-Ride, thank you so much for that $10 donation. That is so super generous of you. Not only being in Tom's Army, closing in on 3 years, as you're getting within a half of year right now of the 3-year XRP Diamond Hands badge. I can't wait until you're sporting that either. But I thank you for that $10 donation. That is extremely generous, and it's always humbling to see someone spend their hard-earned money on my content. Just as a way to pay it forward, because I don't charge for any of my stuff. So I do appreciate the pay it forward mentality. It really helps me do what I do, like more than most of you even realize. So Ripple CLO calls out SEC's rule violation. Court agrees. So the number one thing I'm going to tell you is get it right with an exchange. Get it right with an exchange now. When XRP's 2 for $1 or worse, if we do go down into a big drop, make sure you're ready and you have capital on hand. Make sure you're not sitting on the sidelines without a plan. In the video description below and our pinned comments, there's HOTCOIN, there's and that's if you want to copy trade me as well. So if you want to trade on an exchange, and they have XRP, many other things. A very important part of their exchange is they have the XRP Bitcoin pairing. And as you know, I'm a very big proponent of buying into XRP through that pairing when it's way out of whack. And I've shown demonstrations of how to do it, and I will show more of them if you guys need them. But make sure you have your exchanges set right. You're not paying an arm and a leg like Uphold and some of the other ones where it's going to cost you 5 to 7%, especially in high times, just to buy or sell. So please, get your situation set up. I give you every opportunity. I share all the links that I can with exchanges that I trust where there's not the huge fees. So there's BITUNIX in the video description below as well. That's in the USA and around the globe. None of these you need a VPN. BLOFIN as well, which you have another layer of security, which we will get into that at a further date as well. Well, I'll dedicate to that, but if you're afraid of an exchange running away with your money, that's one you need to look in, and that's in the video description below and our pinned comments along with HOTCOIN. So you've got your pick in the USA even. There's no excuses anymore. We can't be beaten over by the exchanges. So that was important. I wanted to get that out because the worst thing is when it gets to the time when you want something and you can't figure out how to buy it. No, have all that stuff situated now. And only have on what you're willing to lose, because I'll tell you what, you don't want to take it out of your everyday bills to try to buy the stuff. You got to have any leftover money so that you can let it appreciate And then if there's a drop, you're able to pour into it as well, because the worst thing you can do is take money you need for rent, for instance, or a house payment, and then when the time comes, it's dropped 20%. Now you have to sell at a loss and you don't have enough money. So don't put yourself in a precarious position. That's why we call it investing. We're not trying to take shortcuts. Ripple CLO calls out SEC. SEC's rule violation, court agrees. Jorge, welcome in. Coffee and Crypto, welcome. And I am having a blessed day indeed. I hope you are as well, my friend. K4 Liberty, they will freak the price down, then go up violently. Absolutely. Free Toast, I am no way saying sell. We're going to go over a few areas, that's all. It sucks we can't buy XRPH in the US. No, MEXC is not an option anymore. So my opportunities to buy on an exchange has run out now that MEXC turned their back. And completely turned their back on US IPs. Now, the XRPH wallet had it, but it's not as available anymore. So you have what you have, and once it's gone, I suppose. So in recent development, a court has ruled against Securities and Exchange Commission SEC for illegally rescinding a rule on proxy advisory firms. Ripple CLO Stuart Alderodi highlighted this event, noting that the move was made without following the Administrative Procedure Act, with SEC Chairman Gary Gensler personally directing the action. The SEC's proxy advisory firms rule, enacted in 2020, was designed to increase transparency and accountability by requiring proxy advisory firms to share their voting recommendations with target companies at the same time they share them with their clients, disclose potential conflicts of interest, and allow companies to review and respond to recommendations before they are finalized. Another court slams the SEC. Rick One, welcome in, and thanks for being a mod in here as well. I really appreciate that. Jorge, oh, he's just saying hi to, just saying hi. I love that everybody's saying hi to everybody. It makes me happy. So another court slammed the Securities and Exchange Commission, this time for unlawfully rescinding a rule on proxy advisory firms without adhering to the Administration Procedure Act. The court explains that Gensler personally directed this illegal move. So the case, National Association Manufacturers versus SEC, argues that the proxy rule, which never went into effect, was struck down in November 2021. This was 1 month before proxy firms were required to comply with the new terms. According to court documents, the rescission process has began shortly after Gary Gensler assumed his role as SEC chairman. In June 2021, Gensler directed his staff to reconsider the rule and suspend its enforcement in the meantime. Ripple's legal team, along with other top executives, have been a frequent critic of the SEC and its leadership recently. This is a particularly relevant in light of Ripple's ongoing legal battle with the regulator, which now spans more than 3 years. As the fall approaches, the SEC and Gensler are facing increasing pressure, not only from Ripple, but also from the broader crypto industry. Alderodi's latest post also underscores that traditional industry representatives are raising concerns about the SEC current regulatory approach and leadership. And this is big, because if you can get enough voices together and enough people on your side, eventually the SEC is going to have no choice but to start looking the other way. So let's see, Stuart Alderodi, I'm curious what he said. So 12 hours ago, Stuart Alderodi said another court slams the SEC, this time for unlawfully rescinding a rule. So this is exactly what it said. I just wanted you to see this isn't just some bullshit. This is actually what's going on. So the 2020 rule, and we already read through this, exactly what this said, word for word. So, and then he also, so this is what everybody's talking about, or if you've seen about this, maybe not everybody, but there's been some articles written, and this is exactly what it is. So Stuart Alderodi made light of it, and Ripple called him out on it, and they were absolutely right. So that is not a fluff story. That's actually going on right now. So make sure you pay attention to everything that's actually happened when it comes to not just the lawsuit, but actually stuff that's going on within the SEC, because the SEC's very much under a microscope right now. It's very much under a microscope. So now we're going to do some technical analysis. We'll get into the Mt. Gox stuff about possibly selling Bitcoin in July, and a lot of it. We know the U.S. government, and the reason why I put the conspiracy with the U.S. government with Bitcoin, because I firmly believe, you hear how they always say there's transparency, right? Bitcoin is the only, now besides XRP, if it goes through, they'll be the only ones that have gained clarity. Now, isn't it convenient that the U.S. government, with its 212,000 Bitcoin it holds, is the single largest entity outside of Mt. Gox, mind you, and they hold over $12 billion in Bitcoin. Isn't it quite convenient that Bitcoin's not a security like XRP? It's not going through the witch hunt, and it's got clarity by the SEC that it's not a security. How convenient that the U.S. government, we know for sure now, holds over 212,000 Bitcoin. How convenient is it that it's not a security? I wonder how that happened, and I won't say too much more because I don't want to get banned. But that's the conspiracy, and I don't even think it's a conspiracy anymore. After we got the proof of the massive amount of holdings and the fact that they got the green light to put 3,940 on the exchange yesterday by a judge, and it's been uploaded now, you know, I think something big is actually happening, and we can see it. But I can't talk anymore. Thank you, Free Toast, because I don't want to get banned. I faced a 1-week ban, and I had to sit through it way back years ago. K4 Liberty, thank you for the $20 donation. Says dry powder for the dump. I greatly appreciate that. I do absolutely appreciate that. Your guys' generosity, the ones who do donate, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. The ones who comment, the ones who share, it's a beautiful thing here. I don't even know how to properly describe it. Honestly, I don't. It's like I always say, some days like yesterday, I didn't get a donation or I didn't get any new members of Tom's Army, but what we got was a lot of conversation. We got a lot of information from even within the audience yesterday for the ones who were here talking about the Bitcoin stuff. Talking about the possibility of seeing XRP at lower levels because of the massive sell-off. Some people even brought up the Russian government that uploaded Bitcoin for sale. They have a large amount that they're offloading as well. So now that all these governments seem to be going for liquidity purposes, where do you think they're putting that money? Where do you think that money's going, out of curiosity? Oh, Rick, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised, Rick. And that's why I've said, is it a possibility that we have a big rally here before they would drop the hammer on us? Is it not possible that we just might liquidate a lot of these short traders now, because there's several $1 billion. There is several, and it's still on here. Well, not TikTok. It's still on here because Tanya did the due diligence to share something with me, and I actually put it on here. We can see where these liquidations still stand, even today. Just because it's been a, where was this at? Oh, wait a minute. I think she put it on my, right here. So, if Bitcoin goes back up to 73,000, there's 9 billion in shorts. And we already went down past 63K. So 1.5 billion was already taken out, and then some. It was like 2 point something billion when it went to 58. But look it up here. We could go up. And think about this. If it hits 73K, there was 9 billion. It's going to be more than that now. There'll be more liquidations now. So, that's something that we'll consider when we look at this technical analysis. So, let's start with XRP up 1.15%. We know the do or die level with XRP. Right now, we're below it. Because the problem is here, if we can't get above this level and we get a rejection, this is a guaranteed fallback. First layer, we need to get past 478. First layer would be a drop back to that 46.4 cents. And then if that didn't hold, because remember we talked about coming back up for resistance. We've talked about this on more than one occasion. And this is our second time up here. If it gets rejected here, and there's not a lot of volume coming in, if we get rejected here, it's going to force us back down here. It's going to force us back down here. And XRP is going to have no choice but to rescind itself back down to the 46.4 cent level. Now, the big issue with this is if we were to break that, it's a massive reversal here. And we would come down to the cup and handle support of about 46.4 cents. So let's just say we did lose this area at 465, 464. That's about an 8.81 or 8.18% drop. So if we did go into a selling frenzy with Bitcoin, it is very possible that XRP and the rest of crypto could immediately dump. But I don't think that's going to be the true story here. I think if Bitcoin and XRP dump like that, XRP in the daily sense, it would quickly move back into oversold. The other time frames would quickly follow. For me, I think the best case scenario for XRP, and some of you might hate me for saying it, I think the best case scenario is retest this uptrend at 40 cents. This is the all-time trend line from when we went to all-time highs back in 2018. And it might just be time. It doesn't have to, because the one scenario where we can avoid this is if that cup and handle ends up taking precedent. And if it does, 42.4 cents is the floor. Now we can roll out of this cup and handle at any time. We can roll out of this handle at any time, and we can bounce off of the support like we already have a second time, and we could use this short-term consolidation and pull ourselves back up and try to push the cup and handle resistance. However, we have the 478 resistance in front of us, and then a major one up at 50.5. Right now in current times, it's right around 50.7. So until we push those 2 points, XRP may very well be in a bullish consolidation because of the cup and handle. But, you know, the other thing is it could play down. Now, I'm looking at the bullish optimism for one reason and one reason only. And not because of XRP being in the cup and handle formation, because I personally think we could have a melt up. And what that means is you have a fantastic rise up in Bitcoin right before it breaks the backs of every single person buying it. And the reason why I think there could be a melt up is not only because the US government has put the money on the exchange, which means they're probably accounting for some kind of appreciation and then to sell within it, but Mt. Gox, the fact that they're getting ready in July, the government is in holdings of that, which means they're going to want the highest possible price. So what better way, because they're going to need exit liquidity, otherwise when they sell this shit, which is what it is, it's Bitcoin. You know, this isn't some great token, this is shit. And a lot of people are getting fleeced, or they will. Remember, it's good to buy the bottom, but you never want to be exit liquidity. And to me, if it takes this next step, that's exactly what Bitcoin's going to be. To me, I've been calling this out for too long. It has an inverse head and shoulders here. We're on the top side of a pennant flag breakout. We've back tested it. And if it breaks up, we should be retesting. If it breaks out of this pennant flag consolidation, as it has, and it holds this back test as it's trying, and it has this inverse head and shoulders as is already formed now, if it breaks up, you're looking at the first resistance up here. I mean, real resistance at around 69,945. 69,945, or 68,000, I'm sorry. 68,991. I'm going to put this here. That would be your first big resistance on the way back up. Then you got to break this pattern resistance at 77,965, which would have been the technical move up within the consolidation of the pennant flag. Now, you have the technical move up, which if we look at the totality of the pattern of Bitcoin, we've had a very long sustaining pattern, and I don't know what happened to the bottom, but it's very easily fixed. I'm not sure why this got deleted. Maybe I did that on accident. But it's been in a very... Where was this at? I gotta remember how it was. Oh yeah, I remember now. Bitcoin was in a rising channel. And it satisfied the move. It came down, formed a cup and handle. And now remember, folks, if the cup and handle plays out, you move to the base of the cup. That is a massive, massive, do I even need to keep going? Let's just say that gets on top of here. You could be talking about, if it breaks out of this, you could be talking about, in time, a move all the way up to 121,000. I'm not even going to talk about the 139 yet, but you would have to break past so many things, but that is technically the target. And it's actually a little bit higher, because you would have to go to the top of this pattern, which I did not give it its due diligence, because it's up here somewhere. But so there's a possibility, because it looks, if you just look at it without all the bullshit in the news, it looks a lot more bullish than they'd leave you to believe. Let me repeat that. It looks a lot more bullish than they would leave you to believe. So, you know, there's a lot going on here. And the fact that we're on the outside and we bounce off the pennant flag support that used to be resistance. If we break up out of here and we get out of this short-term downtrending resistance here and we can get over 61,890, roughly 880, there could be some topside pressure. And the more bearish everybody gets in the media, the more bearish all the news comes out, the more they tell me why it should drop, the more bullish I get in a weird way. Now, I won't discount what's about to happen, but what I'm saying is if there's a flush, it might be in your best interest to start figuring out a level where you would buy this flush. For Bitcoin, I've been working out the math in my head, and right now we're severely oversold still in the daily, and mine's in real time. So if this did break down, if we got the RSI to come back up here and Bitcoin for some reason was back at 58, where I circled it especially around 57, and the reason for that is in my estimation, if Bitcoin does this, let's just say it breaks down and then it breaks out, that's a huge W reversal that would cap off that inverse head and shoulders. And it would bounce back through, it would come down just far enough to garner the liquidity, and it would fully support this as a support region. And I could almost beg for it to do this because that's what it needs to do. If it does that, I'm going to be looking very long and hard about opening a position there. And not in a spot position, but on Bitcoin in a copy trade. That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for that opportunity if anybody's wondering why I haven't made a move today. Because to me, it seems like they'd flush us out and then they would liquidate a bunch of longs in the process on the way back, or a bunch of longs, and then the shorts that are up there at 7. I don't think 73 is off the table yet. Unless we've invalidated this pennant flag and this inverse head and shoulders, we're in a bullish pattern. It's a bullish consolidation. I'm a very big proponent of XRP healthcare. I led the community to it when it was around 1.7 cents, and my average right now is around 2.6. I have 55,000 plus tokens staked on the XRP healthcare website. I mean, on their wallet. So I love it. I think it's got big things in the future, but it's going to take a few years, and I'm going to stake it the whole way. It's just MEXC is no longer a proponent for us. I don't know where else to buy XRP healthcare for the USA. So now with the wallet, it's even become more difficult to purchase XRPH. So what do I think about it? As of right now, nothing, because it looks like it's come up for a prototypical rejection, and it would need to pass the 4.4 level and then ultimately get back above 4.73 and push up for us to think that this is over, because it is in a falling channel. So if it gets a rejection here, there's a very real chance that it could meet this 2.4 level where it's never back tested this first consolidation. I'm a very big proponent of talking about it's very unusual for us not to back test, and the reason for that is you got to fill gaps. So we could very well break out of this consolidation, and maybe instead of looking at it coming all the way down like that, we could look at the fact that maybe it's trying to show us a new trend line, and maybe, just maybe, we don't have to go through that, oh crap, in totality, that consolidation. But if we don't get back above this resistance line here, it's going to be an issue. So we'll just leave it at that. If we don't get past here, it's an issue. But we could consolidate here until bounce out. If we don't break out of here for XP Healthcare, we'll likely come back down to that 2.4 area. So, but if you ask me, looks like we're putting in some nice inverse head and shoulder pattern here. So I think this has a very healthy future. It's just now it's time for the consolidation. We had a nice rally, and now you guys know how it goes here. So I never buy too high. If you're buying in day after day and it gets too high, you call off the buys until it comes back down into a reasonable level, or you sell off when it goes higher. Some good news here is B2 Gold for anybody who's following the commodity side. Gold was up better than 30 bucks almost on the day, back up to 2,326. B2 Gold had our dividend payment. And you get it, what is it, 4 times a year? And I got $130 approximately, just over $130 on my dividend payment, which was nice. I was able to reinvest it at $2.55. Right when I got my dividend, it dumped down yesterday to $2.55, and I just reinvested. So it got reinvested at $2.55. And now all of a sudden today it's up to $2.72. So it was a nice recovery today after the low yesterday. So now it's up to $2.72. Looked like a nice inverse head and shoulders played out in the short term. I actually sent this to my brother. The inverse head and shoulders. And we'll get back into the charts. I just like to sneak in a little bit of my commodities. But it's a larger pattern. But it looked like to me we created this inverse head and shoulders in the short term. And it led me to believe that we had at least a rally up to about $2.85 in the making. It had a nice correction lately, so it gave itself a little bit of room. Broke out of the 2-hour resistance. 4-hourly, it's coming up to the 4-hour, but it had a beautiful engulfing candle at the end of the day. And I'm looking for some upward pressure here. It would be nice to get some upward pressure. See if we can break out of this consolidation. We have another earnings coming up in July, so you want to prepare now for this company. They beat earnings last time by a pretty nice ratio when it was expected that it probably wouldn't beat earnings. So I expect even better in price performance as the price gets correlated to the price of gold and silver. So very, very bullish in that sector. Very, very bullish. So far, what do we think about what we talked about with XRP and Bitcoin? Are you more likely to see a price increase or a price decrease? I would love to know. We have 78 people here, 77 likes. That is incredible. Well, what does the audience think? And then we'll put another piece of the puzzle here. And I know some of you left because I talked about commodities. I get it. I get it. I don't understand it, but I get it. I think 90K Bitcoin after inverse head and shoulders. Yep. I could see that. Crypto Schmippo. Tell me again the catalyst for a haircut and shave. I don't know. The catalyst could be a resolution of the XRP lawsuit or Ripple lawsuit. You know, it could be some unexpected player comes in. It could be a significant purchase from somebody we didn't expect. I don't know what the catalyst is going to be. In fact, my hair proves that we don't know what the catalyst is going to be, because I'm going in just about 5 days. I'll be at 1 year since I've cut my hair. In July, it's going to be 1 year since I cut my hair. Look at that. This is not a joke. 1 year. And I started this challenge and I told my audience I would not cut my hair at least until XRP hits $1, because I wanted to prove how long we had to consolidate and for the accumulation phase. This is the time of opportunity. Make no mistake about it, folks. If you miss the time of opportunity, you are going to be so unbelievably upset, because you're still going to watch me. Because now you're going to watch to see if anybody else wrote it down or if they got out. I'm telling you, everybody's still going to watch. MC Prosperity, thank you for the $20 donation. I greatly, greatly appreciate that. And I really do. You really do send quite a few donations here. Every now and then I notice, every few streams or so, you're very generous. And I really, really appreciate that. Seriously. Michael says increase. Rick, what if QFS, Quantum Financial System, I see people saying this. No. If you see like a thing on Facebook or YouTube promoting it or some bullshit about back your assets on the Quantum Financial System or the QFS, that's a scam. If you're worried about it, put it on a ledger. Simple. Put it on a ledger. You can use Zoom. Now it's Zaman, or Zoom, formerly known as Zaman. You can use many things, many different ways to go about it if you're afraid. Major decrease in Bitcoin and XRP falling. Absolutely. Absolutely, my friend. That is something that is 100% noticeable. XRP's falling has been slashed. It is. It's mind-boggling how many people have given up on XRP. That's what I used to say in 21. By the time it's time, 90% of the people that think they're going to be around won't have any interest. Imagine it being at 47.5 cents for XRP. And back in 21, when we talked about it after we sold at $1.66, when it proved no way coming back to $1.98 and got a firm rejection at $1.73, after we bought at 47 cents on average, and we said we had to wait. We had to wait. And it finally got to that uptrend right around 28 cents. We bought, we sold, we bought again at 34 because we bought at 28. It made a rally to 50 or 51 cents. I sold somewhere in the mid 40s, so don't think I got back to 52. And then I bought it back at 34 and I've held on. Some I sold off when we made that rally back last year, and then I bought more than I had let off when it went back down. And there's just been a lot of game plan that I've had to play because there's a lot of manipulation. But 10,000 or 12,000 never move. They never move. It's anything over the top that I accumulate. As you've seen at one point, I had $5,000 extra on the XRP Bitcoin pairing. But that time has come and gone because I had a nice profit. And it's not that I wanted to get rid of it. It's just we ended up moving some of it into AMP, which made us 24% in one day. Then we moved some into Casper when it was having a 7% rally and then got rid of it. And there's a reason why, because nothing was stable. Nothing is stable right now. And it's very obvious across the market. Look at this. Look at all the different things that one day they're up 7, next day they're down 7. So everything that's up today is just back from the drop yesterday. Even Bitcoin's not even where it was at yesterday. Bitcoin hit about 62,600 yesterday. So basically we're just pushing back up to where all the sellers were. So if you're a seller and you got caught up in it, and all of a sudden today you see it right back to where it was at, aren't you like, well, what the fuck? There's different levels of, or areas of opportunity here. That's why I find it fascinating in crypto. Nobody gives a shit anymore, though. I'll be honest with you. So many people just don't give a rat's ass. Remember what I told you, my funnest time as an influencer is when nobody cares. Let me rephrase that, or let me even preface that further. The funnest time for me is when Johnny come lately doesn't show up because XRP's up 72% in 2 months. Or because it's up 17% in a day and 37% in a week. I'd rather talk to the true ones in here because I learn a lot more about what's going on in the flow. Because somebody who's willing to share me information now is somebody who truly studies crypto. Somebody who's willing to share me information when everything's going up. Notice, all the people that said to buy Solana when it was up at 200, where the fuck are they at? Anybody who bought that's down 30% now. You want to be here when it's in the opportune moments, right? You don't want to buy something when it's at the top. You want to have that voice, or you want to have that level of accumulation when things are not at the top. When we were talking about Bitcoin at 27,000 when it made that last drop, after it went from 15 to 32, once it got back to that 25 to 27, we called that bottom again and said it. I had a PSA to everybody, buy today, and XRP was at 34 cents on that day. Buy today, and every single person who bought could have sold out if they wanted to for over 175%. How they could even sell out now if they believe there's blood in the waters. And believe it or not, had you bought that day, despite all of the uncertainty with XRP, and let's just say you bought it at 346, you could still, let's say we got a rejection here, you could still be in control of your fate and get out with a 38% rise. Where is the PSA, the public service announcement? Well, the public service announcement, I gave it before it was time to buy, before those huge rallies in 23 and 24. Now it's the great time of accumulation. I've already told you. The PSA is don't fucking wait too long. Don't wait too long. But understand opportunity comes at all levels. Like me, my newest thing now, and I hate to say this, is I'm starting to feel like we're about to, and I'm not sure when the drop's going to happen. I'm not sure when the drop is going to happen. Oh, I know you know, JW. But I'm not sure when the drop is going to happen. But at some point, not only with the U.S. government falling deeper and deeper into debt, they're going to sell some of their Bitcoin off. And the reason why is they're going to put it into the stock market before the election. You didn't hear that from me. They're going to sell off some of the Bitcoin. And, oh, I know, trust me. I've seen a bunch of people you tell me to watch who made a big deal about this glitch. All these glitches mean absolutely, positively dick. Excuse my French. I would like to be excited as the next guy, like it's Christmas, but I can't be. Do you know how many times in the stock, my B2 Gold, it showed $2,671 right around January. But I didn't say that that's going to be the real price of B2 Gold because there was a hiccup. But you know, if I was for the fluff, I would say XRP real price shown through hack and glitch. How many influencers do you watch today had a title that said XRP's true price shown? Price glitches at 64,000 or 48. How many of your, I'm just being honest. How many people do you watch had that exact headline today? I just want to know, did anybody? But when there's blood in the streets, I get very greedy. When people are panicked, when people are selling, I do the opposite. It's exactly how we got that 20% copy trade out of Bitcoin. Everybody was selling. We seen it at 60K. We bought it. It came down a little bit more. When we bought more, that brought us to that 60K average. We were out by 61.4 area, 61.3. You don't have to worry about all this up, down, left, and right bullshit. Hit a target, predicted a target, you go for it. You don't need any more, you don't need any less. And then I even took a shot on XRP yesterday, and it was just a $7 loss, but it was a 7% stop loss. And unfortunately, while I was sleeping, it came underneath it. And the reason why I take them out, I hate taking them out right before I go to bed, is because if you're not putting a stop loss in before bed, you've not been in a real position where you've been leveraged out because of a quick liquidity strike overnight. So, you know, unfortunately, experience will teach all. But I'm waiting for the opportunity. I'm not greedy. And if you follow me on Copy Trade, it says right on there, I'm a conservative. I'm conservative, which means I'm not looking for the opportunity. It has to come. Well, I'm looking for it in the sense that it has to show up on the chart. I'm not looking for a trade. The trade has to find me. And I've been so much more successful with that mindset. Mt. Gox payout 2024. Wait a minute, it froze. Can nobody see me? I would not be surprised with what I'm talking about today if my stream just got cut off. I'm not going to lie. You guys have got the real Tom back. And not the, I'm afraid of what I say nonsense. I'm not. I'm not afraid. I mean, in a sense, I'm afraid because I don't want to get banned. But I'm not afraid of what any particular person thinks of me. Honestly. I used to be so afraid of everybody who would judge me. I don't care about that. You know, that's the least I worry about. So I'm going to bring you the information, and I'm going to say it the way I think it needs to be said. And I hope you follow me. But as I've said in the past, and I hope, you know, nobody leaves. But you can unfollow or you can unsubscribe at any time. It would just be a true detriment to me, because I truly embrace each and every one of you, whether you believe in what I do or not. I like to hear opinions. Oh, no problem, XGTT. I would prefer for you to say that so that I can see how it looks. You know? So anyhow, getting out of that, I don't even know what the whole point of that was. The whole point is, if you're going to do this, you have to do it based on your own conviction. Don't just do something because I say it. Don't just buy something because on a copy trade it shows it. We're having fun here, but I'm also trying to give you a more immersive experience with me where you can see the true inner workings. There's a reason why I haven't cut my hair in almost a year now. A year in July. Because XRP hasn't hit $1. And I told everybody, I wanted you to see how long we had to accumulate. My goatee, I don't cut it. I just have Julie trim the sides if it comes out too far. Because sometimes it'll be like this and it looks really weird. But, you know, my dad tells me, you know, you got to cut your hair. You look like a bum. I'm like, Dad, so what do you have against bums? You know, it's all about the way we look at people. So Mt. Gox payout 2024. A rush of Bitcoin payments could tank Bitcoin in July. So the Mt. Gox payout includes 140,000 Bitcoin. The Mt. Gox payout is happening after more than 10 years. This will see users paid back for crypto that was stolen by then. This could see the market flooded with Bitcoin. The Mt. Gox payout is finally happening, and it could result in the price of Bitcoin falling in July. Mt. Gox has been working on a payout plan to return funds stolen from its exchange over 10 years ago. It's ready to do so with these repayments set to start next month. Mt. Gox notes that the payout will include 142,000 Bitcoin, 143,000 Bitcoin cash, and 69 billion Japanese yen. This will see the exchange transferring more than 9 billion to affected users. When the Mt. Gox payout starts, it could see the market flooded with additional Bitcoin. That's due to it pulling 140,000 tokens out of cold accounts to assist with paying back users. Some traders are worried that this will result in the price of Bitcoin falling alongside the payout. While that might be a negative for Bitcoin in the short term, It's sure to help bring closure to those investors who were affected by the Mt. Gox hack more than a decade ago. Investors will note that Bitcoin is currently trading for 61,784 per token. The crypto is up 1.3% as of this writing, alongside a similar jump in its trading volume today. There are plenty of other crypto stories that traders will want to read about, and we've talked about some of them. The fact that the U.S. government got approval to sell 3,940 Bitcoin and it's found its way to the exchange. The fact that we now have concrete evidence that the United States government holds 212,000 Bitcoin. So they're the single largest holder of Bitcoin. And now you think about this, Mt. Gox has another 140,000. I mean, come on now. Come on now. How many Bitcoin has to be taken out before we realize, holy shit, something big could happen? Something big could happen in a way that we're not going to want to acknowledge, you know, if you're not being, you know, honest with yourself. So what I'm looking for, and this is even for my XRP I hold, what I'm looking for is if they have a big price appreciation here and Bitcoin does push that 88K, which is possible on this inverse head and shoulders, on this pennant flag breakout, how it back tested it, the logical resistance would be to come up here to that resistance on this rising channel that it broke down and back into, that it started all the way back here in 2021 when we hit all-time highs initially, right? I mean, just think about it. Then we broke it here. Now, what if it re-honors this pattern and gets rejected again, and then it falls off the map? Falls off the map. I mean, that is how it could happen. Now, if it breaks that, you could be talking about 130,000 possibly, 121 to 139. So, no man's scared. Can't. Sorry. You can't do nothing. XRP, you know. It's XRP's fault. So, I mean, that's the real. Most people don't want to hear the real. I'm sorry, but that's the real. And it could get ugly. But at the same time, there's a reason why they talk about how bearish it is. There's a real reason why all these articles are flooding the news right now. What do you guys think is going to happen? Do you think Mt. Gox and the U.S. government selling Bitcoin is going to bring it down? Or do you think there's going to be one big rally before it drops? Or do you think this is all fluff? I want to know. I scared people away today. I scared some of you away, and I understand. I scared everybody down to, what are we at? 76, we're okay. But I scared people away. Some people don't like the truth. But it's the truth. XRP Bitcoin pairing down 0.13%. Supply and demand. That's right. That is right. I mean, in the sense of the way a lot of people describe us, the super cycle coming, not necessarily. I believe in super cycles in themselves within market changes. When you switch from an extreme bear market into a significant bull run, I believe it in that sense. And I know we're going to come to one of them, but I don't know if it's going to be in the sense of how some have been talking about how crypto is going to go up by 100-fold and things like that. I don't know if I see it like that. I mean, you could make that argument, Free Toast, that we're in a super cycle from 2012. You absolutely could make that argument. You could see, now that would be an argument that I could definitely I could see that. If you're looking at XRP Bitcoin pairing, a little bit of a W reversal here. We're still being beaten down by this 777 resistance on the SAT level, but I still believe a massive rally is coming here. I do. It's just we keep getting rejected at this area, and we never back tested the short term. So there is a possibility that this could break down here a little bit, but there is a lot of distractions out there. So you're gonna have to watch this every single day as I do, and you can't get too caught up in emotion. I tried to keep it very point blank today with XRP Bitcoin, and made a very big deal about what's going on today. I understand some of you that may have been here in the beginning, or some of you who might be watching after, it makes you uncomfortable to hear some of these things, but you should know everything so that you can make a real decision. I can't help but look at Casper sitting under 2.1 cents right now and think that it's in a massive opportunity right now. Out of everything that I watch right now, and yes, it could dump off here and I'd be a little more comfortable if you know, it ended up pushing out a pattern and it tried to form something a little bit lower. But that doesn't mean that this pattern is just going to give way. Because, honestly, it's undervalued. Casper is in its all-time low rotation right now. And I could make the argument that it's in a bull flag right now after the drop. I could make that argument. There could be a big opportunity that I'm not even paying attention to. Well, I am, but I've got to convince myself. You know, I see something here, but one could have made that argument here and then it fell through. At some point, Casper is going to find its legs. It is. At some point, it's gonna, I just know it. I can see what's developing here. It's just every time it gets to a resistance structure in the RSI, it gets rejected. Right now, we're still oversold in the daily, and it could support a further drop. In fact, if you're gonna re-upload, I'm waiting. If I get the opportunity and we double bottom, or let's just say it does this, I'm gonna take advantage of it around 1.7, because if it comes down there, there's just no reason not to for me to start to seriously dip into that. And I've been in and out, but that's just something that I watch, and H-bar is another one that I significantly watch. It's just that I knew after the bullshit story that was ran about its partnership with BlackRock, and they took it too deep. I knew it was gonna have a big drop, and that it's dumped more than 50%. So that's why I got out of it when I didn't want to, around 12 cents. I was so devastated that it happened the way it did. But, you know, you have to do what you do. So, right now, I mean, the big support line here is right around 738. If it holds 738, it's possible that, let me get rid of this, because that was just that short-term BS. If it gets, and it holds this, there is a real chance that we could double bottom here. But I think it's more likely that it's got to come probably down farther. That made too big of a head and shoulders pattern there for me, and it needs to reset. And if it resets, it's got to come back to the uptrend. And the uptrend right now is at 5.5. Don't shoot the messenger. That's just if it resets, and it's got a death cross here. A confirmation could happen at any point if it gets a rejection at 8.3. Sometimes they have overzealous runs back up to there, and then they'll come back down, so that'd be 9.3. But this in no way is looking excellent right now. The only thing that it's doing is it's holding a short-term formation, but the longer-term one would suggest a drop to about 5.5 if we lose that support. So, that's the realest I can be on this. I got to go here shortly because we got to do my son's feeding, his last one of the night, through the G-tube. That's been a very interesting change in the house since he was hospitalized for a couple weeks. But it's been for the best. And he's been doing as well as you could absolutely hope. As well as he could absolutely hope. Hamza, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 3 months. Along with Simon with the XRP Meteor. Thank you both for your continued support in Tom's Army. That means so much to me. It really, really does. So, I mean, looking at all of that, DGB's up 4.1%. And don't forget to look in the video description below and our pinned comments if you're looking to trade XRP in the USA or worldwide. You guys can take a look. You can make the best decision for you. There's HOTCOIN, there's BITUNIX, and there's BLOFIN. I copy trade on HOTCOIN and BLOFIN. Starting next month, we can copy trade on BITUNIX, and I can't freaking wait. So it'll be an evolution once again. So make sure you get it right. Make sure you get it right on the exchanges before it's too late. Ocho, welcome in, my friend. I believe that said you've been in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge, unless I seen somebody else's name, and I apologize if that's the case. But DGB right now, very much inside of a descending consolidation. It's up 4.1%. We talked about this yesterday about a possible retest of the 2 hour time frame, the 200 day, which is at 863. And we can actually we've broken out of a very short term consolidation, but we're gonna have to get over some of these higher levels. Right now, there's not a lot of volume coming in, which makes me a little skeptical. So, you know, it'll be very interesting. We bought at 0.008. Nice. Very, very nice. And there's a real chance that DGB could come down here to where X marks the spot even, and it resets at 0.00573, which I would not be surprised because it would exhaust itself from its inverse head and shoulders. I mean, I guess it could have been an inverse head and shoulders if it would have just pulled up. We'll see. We'll see. I appreciate that, Big Stink. Yeah, I appreciate those prayers for him. I really, really do. And he is doing good. And I can't wait for him to go back to school in September. He's off for the summer. He was really showing a lot of progress in that, but unfortunately he was hospitalized 2 separate times towards the end of the year. But he had a good run while he was there. And then he was a trooper. He went back for 2 weeks and then ended up back in the hospital, and he still went to school. So, I mean, he was a trooper. So it's definitely been a journey this summer. But I believe the destination for our son is bigger and better things. He's always going to have a lifelong problem with his leg. As you know, he broke his femur most of you know, when he was 6 months old in a car accident. He turns 5 in a week. Well, not a week, but in 2 weeks from today, on July 11th. And his shin now, like his bone in his shin, he's going to have to deal with it lifelong. It's pushed out because of when it healed from the femur. In the process, he was just so young, and that's the way he healed. So now he's got it to where he's rotated out a little bit. So, you know, his 1 foot's always going to be pushed out. But he doesn't let it stop him. You know, he doesn't. He's a very tough kid. He's a very tough kid. Yes, MC Prosperity, FUD is really flowing from every direction. Yes, indeed. You do need to block it all out. You need to understand why you hold what you hold, or why you're accumulating into what you accumulate, and whatever the case may be. This always happens before the great time of resurgence. But you also need to pay attention to the facts of what's happening with Mt. Gox, what's happening with the U.S. government, and what's just happening with some of the holdings. You know, it's not anything to be afraid of. You want to know this stuff. As an investor and as a trader, you can't fear this stuff. You have to embrace it. The only way to get ahead in trading is to embrace what's happening, not just on the charts, but you've got to have a basic understanding from the news perspective. And from the news is with the U.S. government that they hold 212,000 Bitcoin, and we know for sure now. That's a huge amount. They have approximately 70,000 more Bitcoin than Mt. Gox. Then you talk about on top of the 3,940 Bitcoin that have already been approved, that have found their way back to the exchange from the U.S. government. We know that they have over $12 billion in holdings of Bitcoin. Then the whole Mt. Gox thing is they've got the approval to get rid of so much in July so that they can remake whole the ones who were hacked by Mt. Gox back in 2012. I mean, when you look at all of this, something big is coming. Remember, the Ethereum ETF is just right around the corner. So at any moment, you could hear all of a sudden that it's going to be bringing on the Ethereum ETF onto the exchange all of a sudden. Not onto crypto, but in the stock market. So there's a lot of catalysts that are being put into place, but a lot of facade or fake news and all this other stuff that's coming out. Remember, you've got the, tonight, don't get caught up too much in it either. You've got the primary here with Trump and Biden. Just remember, when you're watching, the central banks run the world. No matter which side, I prefer Trump just because I like when he talks. But I know that he's just another puppet. I know it might make some disappointed, but he's already talked about de-dollarizing the dollar. So who do you think they're going to put in office next? They're going to put in the guy who's talking about de-dollarizing the dollar, talking about wants the stock market to go to all-time highs and all this other stuff. So we just got to pay attention to the direction, and we got to stay in front of it. That means commodities, precious metals. If the dollar gets de-dollarized, you're going to be hitting a home run. You've already started to hit a home run if you bought into it, like I've told everybody. But you could hear it seriously at the proverbial home run, and not just in crypto. This is a double-edged sword here, if you follow me. So, central banks run the world. Make sure that you become your own central bank. And the only way to do that is to get rid of currency and start holding money. Currency is the U.S. dollar, your native currency. Whatever that paper shit they give you, you understand it's a unit of debt. Which means when you go to work all day, when I get my revenue check from YouTube or whatever anybody donates through the month, when I get that, because I only get paid once a month through YouTube, that is a unit of debt they're giving me. They're giving me a unit of debt that is given to me for my time. You want to hold money. Gold and silver is real money. Cryptocurrency is money in a sense only because it's borderless. Yeah, some say XRP's dead. You know, it's alive enough to get you to comment, though. So there is still some life in the old girl yet. So we're happy to see that. So have a blessed evening, everybody. I hope to see everybody back here at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. as I really enjoy doing this every day. I wouldn't miss it. Sometimes on Sundays, you know, I have the family, so I don't always come here on Sundays. But for 6 days a week, it's 100%. I mean, I always do updates and stuff on Sunday, but as far as the live, so if you made it until the end, hashtag be better, do better. And remember, you have the opportunity to help out somebody. You have the ability to teach somebody, and you have the ability to give somebody positivity who might be struggling with negativity. You also have the opportunity to be a dick. You could also be negative Nancy, and you could also believe in the power of negativity over positivity. I believe in love over hate, positivity over negativity. I believe you can help somebody by guiding yourself and what you know to somebody else without charging them a fee. Especially, and that fee doesn't mean monetary. That means you're not expecting something in return. That's the bottom line. Do something without an expectation. Have a blessed evening, everybody.